Going live.
Transmitting?
We are transmitting. We're going to be live in just a second. And we are live.
Hi everyone, I'm Marc Sievers and welcome to my YouTube channel. So before we begin cutting and arranging all of these gorgeous peonies, I'm going to wait just a few minutes to let everybody get logged on and sign in and get set up. So thanks again for joining me. I'm really excited. It is another Saturday and another Together Live. So tonight I wanted to share with you some of my grocery store flowers made fabulous, little tips and tricks. And it's funny because when I was kind of preparing for tonight's video, I went to the grocery store a couple times and I saw big bunches of sunflowers in different sizes. And then a couple days later, I went and they had gorgeous bouquets of peonies. And I thought, obviously, we have to do peonies. So peonies, for me, are something that I love buying at farmers markets and farm stands. But unfortunately, those are not currently open in Chicago. So the grocery stores are doing a really good job at keeping mass amounts of peonies in stock. And that is where I got mine. So they smell so good. They're as fragrant and as delicate like a rose. They're just these beautiful, gorgeous, very, very layered, petally things of beauty. So let's get started on arranging flowers. So the idea for this video is just to give you some really simple tips and tricks on how to take one type of flower, and then I'm going to show you how that one type of flower can really change and take on a different personality depending on which vessel you choose. So if you are sitting at home, please make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel and give this a thumbs up as you're watching, and make sure to share it across your social media channels as well. But peonies for me are something, again, like I said, they are just the essence of summer. And I have them originally in these big vintage French pickle jars. And when I get flowers home from the grocery store, I very rarely ever put them right into the vessel or the vessels that I think they're going to live in. What I like to do is take them home from the grocery store, take off any cellophane, any little rubber bands, take off all of the packaging, cut the stems a good 1.5 or 2 inches at a diagonal, and then I usually cut up the stem a little bit to kind of split it, maybe about 2 inches. And what that does, especially for more woody stems like roses or hydrangeas or peonies, that helps the rose and the head of that flower drink as much water as possible. So that's one little tip. The next little tip I use is I don't use scissors. I have a special pair of flower shears. What I love about these is that they're really aerodynamic and they have a nice rubber handle and they're really...
I think you mean ergonomic, darling.
I mean ergonomic. Thanks, Ryan. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm here for...
spell check.
Spell check, yeah.
Darling, I never said I was the smartest in the bunch. I just said I was part of the prettiest. So anyway, these flower shears are great. They have a nice rubber handle, and they are, what are they, Ryan?
Ergonomic.
They're ergonomic. They're ergonomic, they're aerodynamic, they're organic. They're all of the things that you would expect in a fabulous pair of flower shears. Ryan, can you give them a little close-up of these? I just want them to see. And what I love about these two is that they're just really nice and sharp. My particular ones even have a little blade, so that's really nice to get through some of the more woody stems. So I'll be using my ergonomic flower shears tonight. And then the next little tip for you is if you buy a lot of flowers, and I don't mean like, one bunch, every week, But if you tend to buy a lot of flowers during the week because you want, maybe you have a larger home or we used to entertain a lot, that's coming, I promise. I always try to have flower buckets on hand. And whether you're using a big glass vase or those plastic flower buckets from the grocery store, sometimes I'll sell them to you. And I do have some in the closet, but for tonight's video, I wanted to put them in beautiful clear vases just to keep things a little light and bright. And what that does is it kind of lets the flower live in your own home for a couple days. You'll see how it starts to open. You'll see how big they're getting. You'll also see if some of them are dying, like this little peony in the front here. He's kind of dead. So if I would have put them in the original vase at the very beginning, I might have to tweak it over time because maybe flowers have died or things like that. So these have been sitting in water now for about 2 days, and I think we can clearly see what is going to be nice and fresh. So another little tip. Let's get arranging. And when I say arranging, I mean like really easy. Anybody can do this. So we're going to start by choosing vessels from the tallest to the shortest, because at the end of this, I want to have flowers that I can put down the center of our table for tonight's dinner, tomorrow's Sunday brunch for Ryan and I, and then to enjoy for the rest of the week. So let's start with this big, beautiful champagne bucket. So whenever I arrange flowers for down the center of the table for a dinner party, a lunch, breakfast, brunch, whatever, whenever I'm entertaining, I have a little trick. If I put my elbow onto my dining table and to the base of my wrist here, the base of my hand, I want my arrangements to be no taller than that. That way, when I'm sitting down at the table, I can see directly across to the next person, and it kind of creates like just a really nice visual line. Anything taller than that down the table really will create for awkward conversation moments, and I think aesthetically pleasing, it's just nicer to have everything low. Candles can be a little higher, or if, say, we were going to have some friends over, we have a really long table, dining table, I'll even sometimes put these big glass jars at one end, bookend the table, and have a lot of flowers, and then just have a few little flowers trickling down the center. That's different. So this champagne bucket, I always love a good vintage hotel silver champagne bucket. So these sometimes will live on top of the bar, sometimes it will live in the kitchen, sometimes it will live right on this island. But this is a great find, and I think I picked this up for like $15, and it is sterling silver plated, and it has those gorgeous, iconic little ears and handles. So this is what I do. So I start by taking one flower at a time, and you don't want any leaves in the water because that will promote bacteria. So what I do is I start by cutting at a diagonal, and I just kind of take a little bit. I wonder who's going to clean up around here.
Don't
Ryan.
mind me. I'm just going to move something. You're fine. Keep going.
So all I'm doing is just trying to find the good length of a flower and really just let it sit a couple inches above the rim of this particular vessel. Peonies are very heavy. They have a very heavy head on them. So they have a tendency sometimes to kind of fall over. So as I'm doing this, I want to do this at a diagonal. And when you do this at home, you will see that you can create kind of like your own little grid. And you can also use flower frogs. The reason I also chose the champagne bucket is I want you to notice something. Because the heads are so small, it's going to take a lot of blooms to fill the champagne bucket, and I'm going to show you why. See, this particular vase has a really close mouth, really small kind of enclosed mouth. What that does is that helps the flowers kind of look a little bit more abundant versus this champagne bucket, which has a much wider mouth. So that's going to take a lot more flowers to fill. I purposely chose this because I wanted you to see also what this would probably take about $100 or so, maybe 25, 30 stems of peonies to fill. And that's in your budget, fantastic. It's not in mine for one arrangement. So this particular champagne bucket I think is really nice for lots of greens and eucalyptus and things that are naturally fuller and naturally a little bit more robust. So, but now watch what happens when, let's see, we'll put them into this gorgeous rattan covered vase. I love all of the textures that I chose tonight because it really does remind me of summer. When I think of summer, I think of seagrass and lots of natural textures. So you can see how just by changing the vessel, and sometimes this is trial and error, and that's okay. I mean, you know, it's just like cooking. There is a rhyme and reason to all of this, but it's also nice to kind of just experiment and just kind of see what works with what you have. So as you can see, as I'm cutting these are getting filled a lot. This particular vessel is getting filled a lot quicker. And look at that. And see, because I'm crisscrossing all those stems inside, it's allowing me to stick certain stems completely straight up in that little grid that I'm creating, and it's making it nice and easy for arranging them. So see what I mean about just the mouth, the width of the mouth on that vessel? It really does make a difference. I mean, look at how gorgeous this is. And it smells so good. Let's put some of these smaller buds. So I think you get the picture with this one. These little buds, sometimes they open, sometimes they don't. When you buy peonies in the store, this is how you want to buy them, nice and closed and tight. And they tend to open fairly quick if you keep your home really warm. We keep our house like a refrigerator. So in some cases, flowers will last 2 weeks, but they won't open because it's so cold. But hey, to each their own, right? So, et voila, a gorgeous pink peony in this. I have a mirror right here, so I'm looking in this mirror and I'm adjusting. Look at how gorgeous that is. So this is something, and again, let's test to see if it kind of meets the height requirement. So it's about 4 inches too high for me. But you know, I could cluster these at down at one end of the table and that would look beautiful. So this kind of has a little bit more of a beach kind of rustic feel. So watch what happens when I take something just like a white, everyday white pitcher and I put them into that. So watch how much these change. I don't want to say they get more formal, but they definitely take on a much more, make sure there's no holes there. This mirror comes in handy, Ryan. Look at that.
I'm so glad I suggested we buy it.
He's such a liar. You're such a liar, Camille. I left out a word there. But I mean, look at how gorgeous that looks. So that definitely takes on a completely different mood. Not more formal, but a little bit more feminine, I'd say. And then, if I just take this great ironstone crock, and it's a beautiful cream color, a little bit more simple. If I take these and put them into here, I'm probably going to have to cut the stems a little bit. But see, that even takes on, that's a little bit more my style. I love white pitchers, but I think this simple crocks are really gorgeous. And again, you can find these at like flea markets and thrift shops and antique shops and sidewalk sales. I think I paid $5 for this. And it's really heavy. I have a bunch of them. But you can see, so that's really pretty. So let me put all of this down here. All of the vessels. So now we're going to change things up a little bit even more. So we're going to move this over here. Now, I have this gorgeous Nantucket basket that I got for Christmas as a gift from my mother-in-law. And Nantucket, Massachusetts is a really special place to me. I used to go there years and years ago, and I've been recently going back for Nantucket Wine and Food Festival. So I got this beautiful basket as a gift, and I do all kinds of things with it. But what I love to do is line it with glassware and then create a flower arrangement in here. So watch what happens. Let's see, we have to probably cut these a little bit. So watch how gorgeous this is going to look. And this I have 4 glasses filled with water. And I'm just kind of, I'm not trying to make everything perfect. This one will take a lot more flowers. Luckily, I have some white ones. And speaking of mixing colors, I'm actually not very good at creating mixed bouquets with different colors of flowers and different types of flowers. I leave that for the professionals, like my friends at Bridgehampton Florist, Michael and Jim. They do an amazing job at creating gorgeous arranged bouquets. And I have more on them in a little bit because I'm going to show you a trick that they showed me, and I just fell in love with it, and I'm excited to show it to you. So you can see that this arrangement is taking on a life of its own. So what I do mix are the same flower in different colors, or I'll mix the same flower or the same colors with different varieties of flowers. Oh, look at this one. Let's put this one to the front. Look at how gorgeous that is. So this is really an arrangement that kind of takes on a life of its own. I'm not a big fan of when flowers are too overly arranged. I like things to be very organic and to kind of look like they're growing in the garden. One of my aunts is such a fabulous gardener. She's had a flower garden and a vegetable garden for years, since I was a little boy. And I've never had a garden of my own yet, but maybe someday. Or I can just go admire other people's gardens. So look at how beautiful this is taking shape. I hope you can see this. Let's look at that. So Ryan, how does that look? And look, here's one little bud. We'll put this little bud in the front just to give a little look at that. So isn't that beautiful? You don't see the rim of the glassware at all. And these are just simple drinking glasses. Actually, that's my most used vase I use all the time. So Ryan, how about give them a close-up of that? Give them a little turny action. So you can see I still have some holes in this arrangement that I would normally fill in, but for time's sake, I think you get the picture here. Fill them in, keep going, and then you'll end up with a gorgeous arrangement. So the next thing, speaking of drinking glasses, the next thing I want to show you are actual drinking glasses. So these lovely little tumblers and double old-fashioned, they have a removable rattan liner. And I just love these. These are so great. And they're really perfect for, this is what I use mostly going down the center of my table when I have a dinner party. Sometimes plain ones, sometimes ones with rattan, really all different types. And what I love is that you can really just, it doesn't take very many to create a really beautiful arrangement. It just takes maybe 3 stems per glass. This one has a little bud, but they don't have to be jam-packed in very tight. Again, I like when flowers kind of feel very natural and not too tightly packed. So look at that one. This would be pretty, huh, Ryan?
That looks great.
Yeah, this is really nice. Look at
I
that.
like it when you put these on my desk.
You do currently have peonies on your desk, don't you?
I do.
Yes. You know, I gotta take care of the man that helps me, right? And then, if I take the same, and again, notice I'm still cutting all of the greens. There's no stems inside. Everything is, the water's nice and fresh. Everything's being cut at diagonal. Let's see. So look at how quick this goes. So if you have all of these little glasses lined up in a row, already filled with water, this process will go fairly quickly. Notice there's no need for flower frogs. There's no need for tape, making grids out of tape. We'll do more of those down the road, but I think summer flowers should just be as casual as possible. And so this one, maybe we can even put more. And I tend to like odd numbers of stems. I do not know why. I just think it looks nice.
I think it's a nature thing. There's very few things in nature that are even numbered.
I believe what he just said. So he also...
Organic things.
Aerodynamic. What was the name?
Ergonomic.
Ergonomic.
You're messing me up now. Aero something or other.
So you can see maybe the taller ones, I'll maybe put 3 blooms. The shorter ones, I'll make a little bit tighter, put 5. But if you have, let's see, this is 3, so this is 8 stems. So that's, you can do multiples of these down the table, and it really, you can do this in any amount. Hydrangeas look beautiful like this, but I just love how earthy this looks, and it's really, really casual. So the next thing I love are bottles. So if you take the same, and in bottles, they just need, this is the most economic way of arranging flowers you can possibly do, because bottles, they have this little tiny, Ryan, give them a little close-up of these bottles. They really just have an opening for one stem. And what I love about that is, okay, so now I'm picking, is that you can get a really full-looking table with just a few flowers. Whoops, we don't want that one in there. So look at that. So I mean, you could even mix the, I mean, oh my God, I'm kind of obsessed with this. Look at that. So you can even mix the bottles, the tall ones, the short ones. How gorgeous is that? So again, that's another way of getting some life out of flowers. So I promised you a little trick that I learned from our friends Michael and Jim at Bridgehampton Florist. When I was in the Hamptons on my book tour for my book French Omelette to Your New House Meal, my Hamptons stop was Williams-Sonoma, Bridgehampton. And I will never forget that moment because we walked in, it was a Saturday morning, walked in before the store was open to get kind of set up, and one of the members of Williams-Sonoma was there and said, "You have a very special delivery from 2 very special friends." And I thought, okay, who? I'm not thinking of what it is. I'm thinking who would have something delivered. And Michael and Jim from Bridgehampton Florist sent over the most gorgeous bouquet of white hydrangeas, but the most magical thing was what the vessel was. If you go over to my Instagram account, it's Marc J. Sievers. When we're done with this video, look on the highlight reel for Bridgehampton. What they did was, and I'm going to do a mini version here, but with different supplies. What they did was they took essentially a big vase, so a really wide cylinder vase, nice and clean and simple. And then they took a smaller vase and put it right inside just like this. And that gap in here, Ryan, can you show them? I just want you to see. Can you see that, Ryan? So they filled that gap around there with white eggs. My book, French Omelets, of course, eggs. And I thought it was the most beautiful, thoughtful thing I'd ever seen. And I'd never seen a vase essentially created with eggs. It was so stunning. And we rented a great little cottage in East Hampton, and that arrangement sat in the kitchen for days and days and just brought so much joy. And I actually think I still, let's see if I do. Yes, I do. I keep lots of things. So it came with a thank you card, or a little welcome card, I should say. And it just really made me feel welcomed that morning, and I will never forget that moment, and I will never forget that arrangement. So let me show you what I've done. Mini versions, but I know in other videos I've talked to you about my favorite vessel of all time for flowers, and it's this simple little 5-inch tall by about 3.5 or 4 inches wide, this little container. You can get them at grocery stores, you can get them online. I just love them. I have many of these, probably like 20 of these, because I use them all over the place. If I go to bring flowers to people, I'll sometimes use these to bring them to people's homes. And I did kind of something kind of similar. So I did this one here, Ryan, give them a little close-up. So I did this one here of some oyster shells. And I did this one with just plain old beach sand. So keep that camera angle there for me, hun, because I'm going to show them how to do this. And it's really quite simple. So here's the vessel I have, and then here's the little cup filled with water. And then I have some beach sand that I got at the beach actually last night, because we live around the corner from the beach. And all I'm doing is taking a spoon and just kind of slowly adding beach sand. Trying hard not to get it into the water, because we want to keep that water nice and clean. But I think you get the point. So you can do this with any size vessel, as long as you have something that water goes into for the center vessel. I've seen this done. They've done it with Easter time. They did it with jelly beans, which was adorable. I think they did that for the American Hotel, if I'm not mistaken. Follow their Instagram account, the Bridgehampton Florists. They're some of the most wonderful, thoughtful people we've ever known. And they're really creative, and they're just really fun to be around. So I love people like that. Okay, so you can fill it up if you want, like I did, all the way to the brim or to the rim of this vase, so it's a little bit more seamless. And now all we do is load it up with flowers. And again, clean all of the leaves from the part that's going into the water. Just a few cuts. And these vases, these take anywhere between 5 and 7 flowers of this particular size. I know that because I've been using this exact container size for 10 years. So when I say it is my favorite container for flowers, I really mean that. You can get them in a lot of places. Look at how beautiful this is. I'm kind of obsessed with her. She's fabulous. I'm ripping apart my beautiful Nantucket basket, but it's all for a good cause. So, look at these. Aren't these beautiful? It's kind of hard to decide which is prettier, because they're both so beautiful and so delicate, and they smell so amazing. Let's see if I can get this. Guys, I'm only 5'7", so I'm short. So I can't reach very much here. I have friends that are shorter. I won't name names because I know she's watching. She has built-in step ladders though in her closet, so she's doing okay. So I think that's probably enough flowers for in there. These are smaller little buds, so maybe this will Need one more. There we go. But look at that. So, Ryan, give them a little close-up of this. So I just love the texture from the oyster shells, from the beach sand. And again, I really, after we're finished here, please go over to my Instagram account. Of course, follow me. But most importantly, look at the little circles under my profile that have all of the archives, and find the one for Bridgehampton, because you will be marveled at that gorgeous egg arrangement. It's so fabulous. I think we covered everything, you guys. What time is it, Ryan?
It is past.
So look at that, all of this in 30 minutes. So that's a lot of information, but I hope that it's really simple, and I hope if you are interested, you will give some of these things a try. There's really, for me, I really just choose flowers that look the best in the grocery store, or if you're lucky enough to have peonies in your garden. I mean, this is amazing. But I think for me, flower arranging, especially in the summertime, is just really about invoking that casual moment of time where it's just the quintessential, easygoing, single bloom or multiple blooms together. But I just love it. So I hope you guys do too. If you have any questions, please let Ryan know. For our flower class. Look at that. How's that? I've created a wall of peonies. Everyone's quiet tonight, huh, Ryan?
It is a quiet night. We have some folks on, but no questions yet.
That's okay. You have a question.
You mentioned something before that I know I didn't know what it was until you told me what it was, which is, what is a frog?
Flower frog? Good idea. Good question. So a flower frog, I have multiples right here. So let's give them a little close-up. So a flower frog are typically metal or glass, and they have the glass ones. This actually was a gift that you brought home for me, Ryan, from London. So this particular piece of glass, you fill it with water, and what you do is stick individual stems in it, and it kind of holds it up, and then you create an arrangement that way. So that's the glass one. And then a metal one, these little prickly, they look upside down nails. And essentially what you can do is take your flower, we'll do it to this one so you can see, and you just stick it down into the metal pricks there, and then you can do a single stem, or of course you can do multiple stems, but that would be in like the bottom of, say, for instance, I don't really have anything right here. Hold on. I must have something. Here's another little drinking glass. So essentially, if this was not clear and it was just a vase, you would have this down in the center of your vase just like that, and that's how you can get just a different way of arranging flowers. So hope that helps.
Thank you.
Kind of cool. My pleasure. Well, again, thank you guys for joining me for another Together Live and spending your Saturday nights with me. I much appreciate it. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you hit the little notification bell so you're notified of new videos as soon as they post. Head over to marcsievers.com for more wonderful videos on flowers. There's also a great video on my channel for eclectic table setting and how to mix flowers and herbs. Those videos were from last year, 2019, from my trip to Paris. And I think you'll love the one, if you're into flowers, you'll love the one about mixing flowers and herbs. I think that one actually features peonies too, because it was the spring. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. I have a bottle of rosé in the fridge, staying on the pink theme tonight. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Good night.